You'll make this rather snappy, won't you? I have some very heavy thinking to do before 10 o'clock.
Good morning here. Welcome to Get It Right Texoma. I'm Trey Sralla.
I'm Terry McAdams, and we are the trio.
We are the trio along with
Mike.
Our great friend and our podcaster in the sky, Mike Hendren.
Absolutely. So, man, it's a Friday, and it has been, wow, it's just been a crazy week this week.
Yeah, and Terry's been doing all these Terry's the gizmo gadget guy, and he's been doing all this tech stuff here. It's pretty cool. All the neat little things that he gets going.
And here with, as you might notice here from the previous shows, is that when we open up, if we don't have a guest, we now are zoomed in on just the two of us, so it's kind of cool.
Yeah, he's got all these different, well, I don't know, it's more ugly here in the middle of the so I'm not sure.
Well, I don't know, but we're anyway, this is supposed to be for Trey to say, but I'm going to say it anyway. So every Friday morning we hang out here in Wichita Falls, get together. And we're going to talk a lot about different things going on in this world. And a lot of things happened this week, especially was it yesterday? Well, we'll talk a little bit about some progress on a big project.
There you go. Locally.
Yes, local. And so we talk about local, state, intergalactic, national, international, whatever. So we just
whatever's interesting.
Yeah, whatever we find interesting, right? And we want to hear from you though at times. So, but anyway, but go ahead. Maybe I'll take my spot.
We do have. I was going to just say we do have guests, and today we do have a guest. It's going to be Jeff Jenkins, who is the new city manager.
New city manager.
Falls.
That's right, city manager, and man, that's a pretty big deal because we had the previous one for 20. Some plus years, for a long time. So anyway, we're here to have fun. We're not perfect at what we do here, but you know what? We throw out an opinion here and there, and we want to hear from you. You can actually get on and chat with us on Facebook and on YouTube.
Is this the universal code for
chat?
Yeah,
so that's the chat. Yeah. Yes, that's it. So, but anyway, you haven't said much.
Get It Right Texoma is brought to you by MacTech Solutions. 4020 Ray Road.
Yep, and that's where we record from, by the way.
In the MacTech MacTech Solutions Studio.
Yes, and then this is Eddie. He's from Eddie Hills Fun Cycles. He's like the head dude over there.
401 North Scott, downtown Wichita Falls since 1966 for all your power sports needs in Wichita Falls.
And mowers, and because I got my
we are out of mowers.
Well,
yes,
now
we normally do have mowers.
Yeah.
We're out for the season. But, if you get ready over the wintertime or going in next spring before the grass starts a-growing, come see us, and we can take care of you on zero-turn Hustler mowers.
All right, and we go live, as you can see. We go live every Friday morning, 7:30, with the occasional exception like last week. But we're here. Like I said, you jump in on the comments and interact with us because we want to hear from you.
And we do like to hear your feedback.
Yes, absolutely. We want to, and like I said, we can see who's chatting on at any time in the live stream. So hey, stick around. Let's get right into it. So we have a local
restaurant focus. This is what we do every week. We try to focus on a local restaurant and give them a little bit of props and just a little bit of give you an insight of places to go. Of course, everybody, people go to your McDonald's and your Burger Kings and your Long John Silver's and Red Lobsters and all that sort of stuff. But we also would like for you to try to be sure to spend some of your hard-earned dollars, your eating out dollars, at local restaurants and support these local businesses.
Right.
And today, it's a relatively new restaurant in Wichita Falls. The location's not new.
No.
There has been a restaurant there for a long time, even though it was closed for a long time.
Yes.
But this is Firefly Restaurant.
Yes, Firefly. It's right up there where old jalapeno tree was.
Jalapeno tree.
Yeah, and
which, by the way, the jalapeno tree had the best queso.
But man, don't say that. But we got a new place in there.
they did.
They did. They had really good fajitas and all that. But these guys actually have a lot of great food too.
They have really good food.
Yes, I've had the gyro. I've had their steak. I did have
chicken fried steak is awesome.
I haven't had the chicken fried steak.
I've had the chicken fried steak there, and it is great. I've had chicken fried steak, and I think my wife and I we shared a chicken fried steak and a one of their specialty burgers.
Okay,
and they were both phenomenal.
Yeah, I did get in on the preview, on the early. I don't know what they call that, but basically,
the soft opening.
Yes, the soft opening. That's it. So just to let you know, the full disclosure here, they are a customer of mine. I actually helped set up. So when you go in there and you see all the Sonos speakers and everything, and the network, the Wi-Fi. We set that up here from MacTech Solutions.
They're not a customer of mine, so all of my advice is 100% free.
There you go. But we set all that up. And by the way, it's owned by the family that owns Jolly Truck Stop, and they own the Burke Market and everything. So they know they know the restaurant business. Right. But this is a different focus. They've got in the back. I say in the back on the far right when you walk in, they've got the bar area and they've got TVs and everything else, man. It's a nice setup. So.
It's a really nice setup, but go there, check them out. Yep. Like I said, I've had the burger and I've had the chicken fried steak. Terry's had other items. I've not had anything that I thought was mediocre or bad. It was all good.
Yeah. So we've got they've got go to their Facebook page, check it out. And let's see what their hours are. Yeah. Let's see. We always like to do that. Well, if he's got them on here, let's see. I don't know. They're open during the day and normal hours, but they don't seem to have them on here.
Kind of restaurant hours.
Yeah. They have lunch and all that good stuff. So it's lunch and dinner and the weekends and the whole bit. So they're there.
Firefly Restaurant.
Yep.
On Southwest Parkway. Yep. If you're familiar where the old jalapeno tree was.
It's right there, 2927 Southwest Parkway. And and tell Omid and crew and everything that we sent you.
That you heard from Right Texoma.
There you go. So, and by the way, just to remind you that nobody pays for that. So we just pick a restaurant, local restaurant, and then tell you about it. So
100%. Yep. No compensation at all. This is just a community service thing, and we just want to get the word out.
Yeah. So let's get after what's happening.
Local happenings. The art battle's coming up.
Art battle.
This has been going on for a few years here. It's at the Lab, which is on the 6th and Scott.
The Lab?
The Lab. That's the name of the building, the name of the business.
Oh, okay.
And the doors open at 6 o'clock. The battle starts at 7.
Okay.
And it's 3 rounds of painting. And it's live painting. These people paint live pictures right there.
Okay.
While you're watching them.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. I've never been there, but I've seen it seen the recording of it and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's pretty amazing how they sit there and they paint these beautiful pictures and they do all this great artwork.
Yeah.
And these are some phenomenal artists. First off, there's a lot of really good local artists that we have here in Wichita Falls and the Wichita Falls area, Texoma area. Yeah. And then there's people who actually travel in from out of town to do this.
Right.
So art battle, and then the spectators vote.
Right.
And that's how they move on from round to round. I think there's 3 rounds is because of spectator votes.
Okay. Now are they still live streaming it? Or do we?
I'm sure they are.
Okay, because I know that was a big part of it. I think it started during COVID?
It might have.
There was something about that because I remember him having them on the radio and everything. Yeah. So, okay. So, what do we? Next big thing coming up.
Next week.
Is it next? Oh, geez.
Yeah.
Hotter than hell 100.
It's weird. We talked about that before. It's a little earlier than it normally is in the month.
Okay.
So, it's just the way that the month fell.
Yeah. Okay. So,
Hotter than hell 100 starts next week, which is it is the biggest event in Wichita Falls.
Yes.
Or in the whole area. Do not try to get a hotel room in Wichita Falls next week. It's already booked.
Yeah, if you're, I'm sure most of you are not going to be traveling through Wichita Falls, but if you don't already have your reservation, you know,
probably can't rent a yurt right now in Wichita Falls at this point.
Although you might be able to rent somebody's front yard.
Yeah, everything is booked up right now, and the restaurants will be very busy. This is a great thing. It is the largest bicycle ride in America, one-day bicycle ride.
Okay.
And sometimes they've had as many, I think about 13,000 people, but anywhere from 10 to 13,000 riders involved in this. And yes, a lot of those people are local, but there's a lot of people who travel from all over the country and sometimes internationally to come to ride in the Hotter Than Hell. It is a huge event for Wichita Falls. I understand that if you are trying to get somewhere downtown that day, it is inconvenient.
Yeah.
But you just need to understand it's a one-day thing. You know ahead of time. It's kind of like we always talked about with Election Day. It didn't spring up on you like you didn't know what was happening, right?
That's right.
You've had a lot of time to prepare for this. Make your plans. If you want to be involved, go down and check it out. If you don't.
Well, It's a big money booster, an income. Money comes in,
generator
flows in.
for the
and
the
sales tax, just actual straight out business.
Hotel motel.
Yeah.
Everything helps, and also it's outside dollars who come in and they drop it in at the top, and they say it bounces around 7 times before it goes out the bottom.
Yeah,
so it's a great deal. We're closed. Eddie Hill's Fun Cycles, because we're literally at the start.
Yeah,
so we're closed that day. I will tell you, if you want to see something that's pretty interesting, you'll have to bring a lawn chair. You're welcome to, but to sit down right in front of Eddie Hill's. We have right in front of our store, and then we have the lot right next door. And watch the start.
Oh, okay.
And it is worth it. Now you got to get down there early.
Yeah.
You got to get there by about 5:30 or so, because you might not be able to get it. A.M. Yeah. Or you might. Or
I guess you could be 5:30 the night before.
Yeah. You can camp, I guess. No, 5:30 a.m. Get down there, but it's pretty amazing to watch 10,000 bicycles go by, and all the colors and everything else. You actually, at some point, you have to kind of close your eyes, because you get a little dizzy, or I did. I got a little dizzy watching it, because everything's spinning, and you got every color under the rainbow and stuff like that. So.
Okay, well, cool. HH100.org. Go check it out.
For more details.
Yeah, for more details. And in the news.
Yeah, Jim Lovell.
Apollo 13.
Apollo 13 commander died at the age of 97.
Okay.
Jim Lovell, if you've watched the movie Apollo 13, Tom Hanks played this character, but Jim Lovell was one of the early astronauts that was in on the ground floor of the astronaut race. But what people need to understand is, at one time, Jim Lovell was probably as big of a household name as there was. Right. The people like you and I, we kind of came along in the era of the space shuttle. The Apollo missions, the Gemini missions, and all that, they were kind of before our time.
Well, I remember them going to the moon and having various space shots as a kid. Yeah, I was young. No, absolutely. But I remember on a black and white TV, it was in a metal rack. I have it in my head. There was this rack that the TV sat on, and it was probably what would that be, 17 inch, something like that. And it's a CRT, but it's black and white. I remember that. And so no, I do have memories of this, but I was like 3 or 4, maybe. But
you don't. That's what I'm saying. You don't remember how popular these guys were.
Well, no, you're right.
But they were, like, by the time the space shuttle came around, yes, we all saw the Challenger, and that was going on. But you couldn't name. Could you name 5 people who flew in the space shuttle outside the Challenger? Probably not.
Yeah, probably
not.
The
average person probably couldn't.
Right. Yeah,
but
you're right.
The average American could have told you who Neil Armstrong, Jim Lovell, Gus Grissom. These guys were rock stars in the early days.
Oh, yeah. So, and we saw the movie, and so.
We saw the movie, but no, they were very popular at the time. So Jim Lovell had a great life, obviously, was a great American, committed, did a lot for the American space program. Yeah. And he was a fighter pilot before then. So, did a lot for the American military.
He was a Navy. He was a sailor, as we might say.
He was an aircraft, and he landed on aircraft carrier.
Yeah, so which is supposed to be.
There was another death that was somebody he hadn't seen in the limelight for a long time, but I thought was a very interesting character, Danielle Spencer. She was Dee on What's Happening.
Oh.
Remember Dee, the little sassy mouth young girl on What's Happening? And, of course, her famous line, she had a lot of famous lines. She was very sassy. But her most famous line is, "Ooh, I'm going to tell Mama." But she actually was a veterinarian. She had a pretty interesting life that I wasn't aware of until I saw that she had passed away. So she was this child actress. And, a lot of those people go sideways. She obviously didn't. She actually became a veterinarian and so she was Dr. Danielle Spencer. Yeah. To her family and friends and stuff. Went to the Ivory Coast in Africa and studied veterinarian medicine there and everything else.
Which kind of, not scary, but kind of, she's born the same year I was.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, wow. And
I think she had
only
cancer.
60, yeah.
Yeah, she had cancer, I believe.
Oh, wow.
But anyhow, she was a big part of that late 70s, early 80s sitcoms, and What's Happening was a big show, and she was kind of the comic relief. Yeah. She didn't have a lot of lines, but everything she had was sassy, and she played it really well. She did a great job being sassy. So
that's cool.
Danielle Spencer died at the early age of 60.
Yeah, wow. Okay, well then let's see. What else is going on? We got the Tales and Trails. Wow, I'd never heard of that until you brought it up on our news notes here. So
I've driven by there a bunch of times. This is a museum in Nocona, Texas. Nocona is about 45 miles east of here on Highway 82. And I've driven by this museum's been there for quite a while. And I've driven by there a whole bunch of times, and I'm a nerd when it comes to history. I love museums and that sort of thing. And I've kept saying, I'm going to stop. Well, last Friday, I had to go to Gainesville to pick something up. Kawasaki had sent our order to a dealership in Gainesville.
Oh, no.
And it was a big order, and we needed it. So instead of sending somebody, I just jumped in the truck and went that way.
And you know what? You didn't complain about it, I bet, either. Really. You just know you went and took care of it.
Took care of business.
Now, then there's probably a discussion maybe you might have with somebody. But the point is, you got to get stuff done.
You got to get it
done, and you ended up going.
I was driving by there, and I thought, you know what? I've got a little bit of time.
So why not?
So I stopped in there. It is a fabulous museum. Nocona is a pretty small town. Now, there has been some good money that has been taken into Nocona. They've had some benefactors, the Fenolio family that's been there for a long time, been a very successful family.
Okay.
And then the Horton family, who's from Nocona and made a lot of money in the oil business.
Okay.
And they came and injected a ton of money into Nocona and kind of revitalized this sleepy little town, probably starting about 15 to 20 years ago.
Right.
But it's Nocona Boot Factory was there. And by the way, the Nocona Boot Factory people, that was the Justin family of Justin Boots.
Oh.
They started in what's now known as Spanish Fort. It was called Red River Station.
Okay.
That's where the original Mr. Justin, who came from out of state from wherever he was, and started making boots there. Okay. Then when the railroad bypass in that town died, he moved to Nocona. And after he passed, the city of Fort Worth approached the family. He had, I think, 4 sons and a daughter. Approached the family and wanted them to move to Fort Worth, offered them $50,000. And this was $50,000 in the 40s or 50s or whatever it was, to move their factory to Fort Worth, where Justin Boots was made for a long time. And they did, except for his daughter. And she said, nope, I'm from Nocona. We employ people in Nocona. I want to keep the factory going. So she started Nocona Boot Factory right there in Nocona and kept it going for many, many years. It's pretty fascinating.
Okay. And is that all covered at the?
It's all covered in the museum.
Okay, wow.
I had a guide that took me through the museum, but it talks about the early days. There was a lot of Indian artifacts and stuff through there.
Well, they have right here on their website our collections, they talk about Native American culture, Western heritage, agriculture, leather goods, oil and gas industry. Yeah,
and there are a lot of, because there were a lot of Indians. It was right across from Indian territory. There were a lot of Indians that camped in that area, and there's lots of artifacts and arrowheads. It's a great museum. Don't want to spend too much time on it, but go check it out.
Okay,
in Nocona. You'll need to check out and see what their hours are. I think they're open regular, normal business hours.
Yeah.
It's fascinating. They do have an animatronics of Mrs. Justin, who was the lady who ran the boot factory.
Yeah.
And the animatronics is a really good it's very realistic. And it's 2 interviews that she did late in life, and they put them together. It's really cool.
Okay, well, here it is, 10 to 5. Monday through Friday, Saturday 10 to 4, and then Sundays by appointment.
Absolutely.
And then you can do a group. And then just, by the way, free for active military and former U.S. military and their families from, there are dates, May 17th through September 2nd, I guess.
It's like $10 or $5 to go.
Otherwise it's,
honestly, if you can't spare $5, then don't stop.
No, but it's,
it's
still
worth it.
All right. Well, cool. That's, we've got that. So
you want to talk about AOL? You had brought this up here, of course, being the tech guy that you are.
Yeah, it's an end of an era.
It is.
That
I didn't know existed anymore.
Well, at least with AOL, right? They're apparently MSN may still have, Microsoft Network may still have some dial-up. rumors are. But AOL, which is really they blanketed the all of our, how many discs did you get in the mail? This is floppy discs
hundreds.
In the beginning,
and then
in the 90s,
CDs.
And then eventually ended up with a CD. I
wonder how many they had to produce a billion.
Oh my gosh!
At least a billion.
I bet that's a Chat GPT question that we could come up with. But
it is. There's got to be landfills that are filled with that stuff.
Yeah.
But you get that disc in the mail, and you throw it in your computer, and you boot
free
up,
trial.
and all of a sudden you had a free trial, and you were on the internet.
Yeah.
AOL really ushered in the age of the internet to the mass.
Well,
audience.
but actually, it existed prior to the internet.
Right.
Technically,
but I'm talking about they ushered in the age to
they
the
made
mass.
It, right. They did, but they existed prior. But here's the thing: this little history here, just because I lived this history. So, AOL. Prior to AOL, there was a let's see if I can say it. Apple had a service called Apple Link.
Okay.
And then that was something they used internally. But then they came up with the Apple Link Personal Edition. And then, but they had linked up with the people who owned AOL. It was before it was AOL, but that it was on the Mac first, or on the Apple II, not necessarily the Mac, but Apple II and Mac. And then it became America Online, and that's then when it came on. And again, prior to the internet, I mean, there were other internet services. You had CompuServe. There was one called The Source. And then AOL. And so eventually, though, the internet came along. Now, I went to the pure internet. I dumped AOL. I didn't really dump it completely, but I went from using the AOL into then using the internet. But it was hard to get on the internet. The software, your computer didn't come with it. Windows 95
you had to put it in.
And prior versions, you had to go get a disk and put slip and or PPP, blah, blah, blah. And it took me an hour to set people up. That's what I did. That's what got my business started here in Wichita Falls, is I partnered up with the local dial-up internet services. And I would go out to somebody's house, and an hour and a half later, they're on the internet. And so, but again, AOL got the internet started. They started having a browser and all of that, and then the rest is history. But there is no more dial-up. And but they apparently you can configure, if you still have AOL and you want to go and you get the email, right? You still go to their website. You can get your notification of you've got mail.
Well, I actually ran across somebody about 6 months ago at our business, and she had an AOL email address. It was something at AOL, and I said, I didn't even realize that existed. Yep. She said, no, I've had it for a long time. Of course, at one time everybody would call them AOH, America on Hold. Right. Because you got so many people that were trying to dial up, it would just, you couldn't get in.
Yeah, well, that could have been a problem. Let's see. I don't know if this will play. Let me see. I don't know if I've got my audio.
Get us kicked off YouTube.
Let's see here. No, it's not playing. Doggone it.
You've got mail.
Yeah, you've got mail. But the dial-up sound too.
Yes.
That was the
that was iconic.
Yeah,
so AOL dial-up is going the way of the dodo bird.
Yeah, the way of AOL. No. Anyway, so I'm trying to get my mouse pointer to the right place.
Well, real quickly here, there's another big story that just dropped last night.
Oh, yes.
Or yesterday.
Yes.
That's local, and you alluded to it earlier.
Yes, I did. I teased it.
In a unanimous vote of the 4A board, the 4B board, and the city council.
Yes.
All approved the purchase of the Psych Center Mall.
Yep.
Complex.
Yep.
So, of course, Ron Kitchens was on with us a few weeks ago when they dropped the news that they were just looking into this. And yesterday they had their final public hearing on it. And I believe they said that 17 people showed up to talk about it. Different people, some for and some against. But this is a good thing for Wichita Falls.
Yes.
I understand it may cause a hardship for a few people.
Yes.
But you cannot let something sit dormant, let something go vacant, everything to save a few people.
Oh, no, I know.
Progress has to be made. You're not hair-lipping the Pope. You're not putting everybody out of business. There's a lot of people that aren't. There's very few people in business.
I know.
There.
Yeah, and I haven't had a chance to watch all of it. I caught part of Ron Kitchen's presentation, and basically he's trying to let everybody know, look, they're working with the retailers,
right?
Whether they want to. I mean, again. Yes, it's inconvenience, and yes, some of those retailers aren't going to like it, and I understand. But it's they have time to plan. They don't own the facility, and I hate to use that kind of strong, point, but they don't own that.
Yeah, when you rent a facility,
exactly,
you are at the mercy of the landlord.
And so if the landlord's now going to become, at least temporarily, I guess, the city of Wichita Falls and then they're going to work with a contractor over time, and eventually their plan, I think, is to turn it completely over to private. Obviously,
right?
They just want to get the ball rolling. And so because
that's what you want government to do.
Right.
You want government to get the ball rolling.
Right.
Kind of get the framework in place and then get the hell out of the way. You don't
right.
want first off, the city doesn't want, Tim Short does not want to go out there with a hard hat every day and be the GC on this thing.
Yeah.
Right. But you also don't want that.
Right.
You want experts.
Yep.
You want people who know what they're doing. When the WFISD built 2 brand new schools, the superintendent and the school board weren't out there every day telling people what to do here and there. You bring in experts that do this for a living. They build schools, or they build malls, or they build retail spaces, because they can do it efficiently.
Right, but this is a little bit unusual in the sense that normally it's fully private for something like this. But we just, in our town, we don't, unfortunately, we don't have that somebody who was going to step forward. But what we're going to do here is we're taking money that was set aside for building business in Wichita Falls, the 4A and 4B board stuff, and they're taking that money and investing it. And this is not the same, I don't believe, is the same or even close to what was done with regard to remember the mattress factory, because that's always what people bring up. But this is completely different, and they're gonna because the mall, otherwise they when the Ron Kitchens called and was talking to the new mall owners are like, I think it was, I don't know if it was Ron himself, but when they were checking in with the guys who just bought the mall, they're like, this is an investment. We talked about it here.
Yeah.
This was a place to not hide money, but sit money for tax purposes.
Exactly. Yeah. It was never, they didn't care about this mall,
right.
which is okay. They have a right to do that.
Yep.
It's their money if they've got the money to do it. But it's also, as the community of Wichita Falls, we have a right to say, hey, let me make you an offer, and let's try to turn this
and they took it,
turned into a lemons.
Yep, that's
and I think that's what's going to happen.
And
by the way, when people bring up the mattress factory thing, bring it up all day. Yeah. But what's where the mattress factory was right now?
Right, I don't.
The hemp business, the thriving business there.
Oh, okay.
So you can bring up, and say, that mattress factory. Yeah, but Panda Biotech is there.
Right.
So, okay, are we going to keep going? How far back do we want to go?
Right, absolutely. And it's a little bit get over it. But,
things happen.
Yes.
I know that Stanley Tools, when I was on the school board, we had to sue Stanley Tools because they had abatements as the city of Wichita Falls and the school district sued them, and we actually got won some money out of it, made them pay because they had some abatement that was clauses,
right?
And they didn't fulfill their abatement clauses, their tax abatements.
Right.
They were supposed to bring in X amount of dollars, X amount of jobs, X amount of equipment. They didn't do that. They left, and so we got our money back.
Yeah, well, that's cool. Well, that's So it's I think
we got y'all's money back.
Right. And but the trend is all in the direction of malls going and the airmen, he points out the airmen are going over to Target. They're not going to the mall much, except maybe to go eat and go and maybe watch a movie. But then that other movie theater down is, there's the competition, and we're just, in this case, the government, the city is actually taking some money that has been set aside for this, investing it in a property. It's going to then be developed. They've got things in place. They got commitment for the most part, I guess some level of commitment where they felt comfortable from MSU for the stadium. They've got, it's just so much positive here that it's going to outweigh all that. And I sounds like they're going to, when there's some funds maybe available to help businesses move into a new location or hang out until the newer facilities, the new buildings that they're looking at, the new retail area. I mean, it just sounds like there's going to be a lot of good cooperation. None of this is going to be perfect, and you can nitpick the heck out of all of it.
Oh, and so you can always look at it and say, we should have done this and should have done that.
Right.
But
And Facebook, I'm seeing all the negative comments, but it's a few people, and 17 people showed up to make comments. I guess they weren't all negative.
No, there were 17 people. They said some were positive, some were negative. Yeah. Okay, so what that tells me is the silence is deafening. Yeah. That's what that means. Go. When you as passionate as you are, when you hear people, because I heard this for years, people would say everybody this and everybody that. It's like, I'm not hearing from everybody.
Right. Yeah. And realize
I'm hearing from you, and you're being really loud, but that doesn't mean you don't get extra. You don't get to count for 3 people because you're being as loud as 3 people.
Right. Well, and so in this case, we have no representation directly in this. But of course, if there was a vote, but it didn't look like they're going to worry about the vote. But we are taxpayers. We pay a lot of sales tax in this town
and create a lot of sales tax.
And create a lot, yes. And we don't. That way, we're able to keep it here locally. And all that by the businesses that we do, we help keep our sales tax local, and we have no direct say if there is a vote.
By the way, let me clarify why that is. Not because we're both convicted felons.
No,
it's because we both live in Clay County.
Right.
We live in a different county. We don't live in the city of Wichita Falls. We work in the city of Wichita Falls. We operate businesses in the city of Wichita Falls. We collect tax revenue for the city of Wichita Falls.
But we don't get to vote for the mayor
we don't get to
or
vote.
the city council or anything in this
because
town.
of all those other things, we damn sure have an opinion.
Yes.
And we have that right to that opinion.
Right. That's right.
So our guest has just walked in. He'll be in just a second.
Yep.
Real quick, the last thing I was going to put in here. And if Mike was here, he would back me up on this. I've been screaming about using the military, and you've heard me say this, to go after the cartels.
Oh, the cartel, yeah.
And finally, Trump has mentioned it.
He heard you.
Yeah.
He watched he listened to the radio. And
Ron DeSantis mentioned it one time, has mentioned it before, and somebody else has finally mentioned it. But I've said that for years. I think that's what we need to do. We need to use our military. And I'm not talking about full-scale invasion. I'm talking about SEAL Team 6, Delta Force, all these people. Go in there and take these cartels out. Help Mexico take the cartels out.
Yeah, well,
so,
okay.
Finally, I've been screaming, and I've been screaming about it for years. I promise you, Mike would back me up on this because we talked about it on the radio days.
Oh, yeah.
In fact, I started mentioning, I think I mentioned it to James Frank 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah.
So,
okay. Well, there we go.
Jeff, come on in. We're live.
Come on down.
Yeah, you're the next contestant.
Hey, Miranda, would you mind handing me my drinks there? Because while we're doing this transition.
Come on. Nice to meet you in person.
Yeah, nice to meet you too.
We've talked on the phone. Yeah, we just do things live here. Yeah, it's a lot easier than cutting and pasting. Yeah.
And then let me hit the button that I just made the other day. The
magic button there.
Oh, that's
got everybody.
Yeah. Oh, wait a minute, not that one. That one.
There we go. That's good. You got your name.
In
case you forgot your name.
I did. I was like,
no, that doesn't look quite right. I've got to fix that. But anyway, while y'all do, I'll fix this. Because the technical, we're learning all kinds of things. I've got a new software program that does all of this magic.
This is Terry's really the tech guy. You can tell. Yeah. Look at all this setup.
Wow.
So, but yeah, I think it's amazing. Well, it's amazing that you can it's affordable to make we have a full television studio here.
Yeah.
Wow. And we're live. Just to remind you, we are live and
so don't say anything that rhymes with duck.
Yeah.
even though occasionally I do. It just it is the internet. So
There we go.
Jeff Jenkins, new city manager of Wichita Falls. You've been on the job for how long?
Oh, about 2 months now.
Yep.
Yeah.
Wow.
So you got it completely all figured out, right?
Yeah. I've got a list. This time around, I bought a Remarkable. The city got me a Remarkable, and I can make that list can be endless now. I don't need all the.
Well, I need you to come in and give me a review of that, and we'll do it live for the tech stuff. Yeah, there we go. I don't have one. I've heard all about it.
I'm surprised you didn't have one. I've got one.
Oh, I need to check it out. So. But
anyway, we're pretty good. So anyway, give everybody a little bit of background. You are from here or lived here at some point in your life, right?
Yes, I've let's see, from 1983 to 2003. Yeah, I lived here. I actually grew up on the northern side in Cajun community area, and I went to Burt Burnett High School, class of '96. Yeah,
home of the Bulldogs.
We got to have a reunion here in the next this next year, so that's always fun. And
you
then,
don't have to travel very far now.
No, that's the good news. I might be a host. And then went to Midwestern State, and it's just great being back. It's just a wonderful community, and it's fun getting to come back. You get to meet other people and see familiar faces, and then with my knowledge base, what can I do to help us move forward? Because I've had a long career in city management, 20 years in different places across the state, and one stint in Oklahoma. So I've seen a lot of different things, and it's nice to be able to bring those tools in the toolbox to Wichita Falls. And then I did have a 3-year time frame where I did come back during that run where I was here again. So it's but yeah, deep roots. My mom actually she was an Old High grad. I think it was the last time that Old High had was the only school in '62. So she was graduated. I've been told that in '62 the senior class got to vote whether or not they would go to Ryder or not, and they voted to stay together supposedly. And then my grandparents, several of them, they were in the area, either Seymour or Burt Burnett. So it's very, very deep roots for me.
The roots run deep. Yeah, the one thing that I will say that I really do appreciate and I like about your experience is the fact that you're from here, so you kind of know the lay of the land, you know the culture and that sort of thing, but you've gone away. And so it's not been like you've just been here the whole time and in the grind and this is what we've always done and yada, yada, yada. You've seen different ways to do things and how other people do things. And so you get to bring all of that knowledge and come back here and kind of modify things. I think that's a great set of tools there.
Yeah. Right. Oh, totally agree.
So tell us a little bit about what your thoughts are on the big vote yesterday and how that's going to...
Wow.
He's totally against it. You didn't know
that? Yeah. I wasn't prepared for that one today.
Yeah.
No, it's... I actually... I said it during the meeting, and I still feel that way. It's one of those legacy days, you know. Do you step forward and let things happen to your community, or do you make things happen? And that was a pretty exciting day where, hey, let's make something. Let's be a self-determination. And how do we want to see that the mall area develop? I mean, it's Ron has been great to work with, the mayor and council. It just the courage and the leadership that it takes to do something like that, because you're going to always have those naysayers. You know, they're going to one that. I'll get on my soapbox.
Go right ahead. Yeah, that's what we're here for. You're open mic.
One thing here, sometimes we run into is we'll have these moments where we'll relive history. You know, we'll say, well, you know, the impact. Oh my goodness, it's just horrible. You know, and then we'll say things like that darn Castaway Cove. Well, that is such a But if you look. All through time, the city has been very consistent. Does things work perfectly? No, that's life, though, folks. Yes. Life is not perfect. But when I look at it today, we have impact. We have ZZ Top coming in November.
Exactly.
We may change management of it, but it's still going to be here. We're still supporting it. We have it's an amenity that's great in our community. Yeah. Same thing with the water park. I mean, it's we just added that new slide. And I actually took a long tour of it the other day, and I'm like, most towns this size don't have those kind of things. So we need to stop, I guess, dwelling, somewhat in the history of maybe how things don't work out sometimes. That's just life. Yeah. And I think the same thing goes with this, with the mall. It's going to be one of those where people will look back and go, well, boy, the city really stepped it up and made something happen with the chamber and the 4A and 4B groups. So it's exciting time.
Well, you know, let's go back to what you said about the impact. I've heard over the years the negativity of the impact, but there's been so many positives there. And by the way, Delta Hotels, a private industry, decided that it was worth investing millions and millions of dollars to come to Wichita Falls, and they believed in the impact, they believed in the convention center and all that sort of stuff. So if private industries are putting their money, you're sitting on Facebook going, I don't like that, and you're sitting in your mama's basement in underwear eating Cheetos, and but there's people that are spending millions of their own dollars, investing in that. Who do you think's right? Who do you think has a better case?
No, you're right. I mean, it's a very exciting time to be here, and it's our time. That was another thing for me. It's I could have sat back in my previous job and probably retired there. I don't know if you saw one of the former mayors of Taylor actually attended one of the first council meetings. My first council meeting, and said I was beloved there. I could have stayed there and just wrote it out and accomplished some more things, but I thought, in my career, this opportunity doesn't come open very often. There's only 3 times.
It's come open about 25 years before today.
Third time since 1983, and then there's things going on here that, hey, this is that legacy building time where that future generation, they're going to have more things to do, more opportunities, and so that's my whole goal, is to bring those to some of those experiences I've had elsewhere.
Right. When you left here, though, compare and contrast the mall when you left compared to you're coming back. Just remember, I mean, that number of cars in the parking lot, obviously.
That's
J.C. Penney's gone. I mean,
Dillard's
is
still happening.
Gone.
When you were left here, the mall was still happening. It was happening.
Yeah, about 15 years ago, I can recall. I told that story yesterday about having flashbacks there. You go there and you go, man, I remember when my mom would make me go to Dillard's to the perfume area, and just wait on her, and then I actually worked there at Sears for 5 years. I actually worked there. All those warranties for treadmills they're not valid anymore, so you don't worry about that. And then I also sold lawn equipment there. We actually that was the big upgrade.
What years was?
That was 1998 to 2003.
There you go.
Okay, well,
so you were there during.
Just a little tie-in here. I was the Apple rep for Sears. Here, while I was active duty, I was still active duty in the Air Force, and I was the Apple rep. For Sears, I would go in and train the staff for the computers. I don't know if you were there. They had the Macs. They sold them in the electronics department. So there you go.
Yeah. I never did anything.
I think it was about that. Stuff. It was probably around that same time.
I owned a bunch of Craftsman tools.
But I don't know. Back then it was thriving, and the market back then still supported those kind of facilities. And what now on a city end of it, what you want to see, especially places that are kind of like your heart of the community, you got to see them active, redevelop, and you see that parking lot. That is it's just a large area that's just underutilized in our whole community, and we've got to get it moving and better in the right direction. But it's throughout the United States.
Oh, yes.
It's not, you'll see certain maybe places like in Austin, they have on the west side of town, they have one mall that's still thriving and alive, and because it's the only one, it's like
and there's
the
a
80s.
Lot of money there.
There's a lot of money there. You're correct.
It's like the open air malls, the one that's over by Texas Motor Speedway and stuff like that.
Same deal.
There's a lot of money there, and when there is people that have large amounts of disposable income, the mall factor still happens because it's a shopping
But
experience.
The preference still, though, is more of a South Lake experience versus the mall experience. Although, again, as they've pared down things, like Ridgemar Mall in Fort Worth is apparently not doing well, and I don't know how well Hewlin's doing. But then you go and look, I guess Grapevine Mills is still kind of going pretty well, but
it's more empty than it used to be, though.
Yeah.
Mills used to be.
It's few and far between, and so and again, everything that it indicates, like Ron was saying yesterday, it'll be dead if we don't.
Oh
do
yeah,
something.
absolutely.
And it's okay. What do you do at that point? You just sit around and go, well, I wish we could have, kind of like a victim mentality and naysayer mentality, but. That's what I'm trying to do is, hey, what's the positive? There is a lot of positive we have in our community, and we need to highlight that even more each day.
all this work that's been done up to now, I mean, Henry that was the previous CEO of the chamber, when he came in, he took it from the old guard, if you will,
right.
And then he came in with some new ideas. He was here for a while, and then we've got now Ron, and I think it's just progressively, just kind of worked it in, and we've finally gotten that foothold of, because when I moved here in 1995, there was an attitude. I mean, it was a great town. Don't get me wrong. The Air Force brought me here. But one of the things as a not as a military member, but as a person who spends their money, the attitude was, oh, well, if you don't like it, then go to Dallas, which, it's a pain to go down there, right? Well, guess what? And when internet was coming along, and then online shopping came along, and guess what? Those businesses either went out of business completely, or they adapted their attitude a little bit. Sure. Because the internet is a shopping experience, and now and COVID just, if you put a knife in it and twisted it, even worse if you were not prepared. And
adding on to that, with the site itself, it's a multi generational opportunity, where you can have this shopping, the live work experience. And then there's also talks about, splash pads and an amphitheater, so entertainment. And then, of course, you got the stadium portion that MSU would do. And I mentioned this yesterday, but another thing that's a value for residents is that the more shopping you have, it gives you those opportunities, but it also can reduce the property taxes for the city portion.
Absolutely, yes.
So there's a, we've got 8.25, and the first percent of that goes over 6.25. That the 6.25 is the state. It goes to the general fund, and the other percent is divvied out amongst 4A and 4B. But we also have a portion that goes to reducing the property tax rate, and that is on there currently. It does that now, but the more spending, I mean, that is the best way to pay taxes, right? Is to have your neighbors and visitors paying it. I mean, that's the best way to do it. And I've actually experienced that in Taylor when we got the Samsung plant. We actually had a deal with them where they credited their the use tax portion of the sales and to the community, and it reduced the property tax because there was such a surge significantly within a year. But I think for us, it'll be probably something more incrementally, but it provides values and jobs and opportunities.
Along with the data center, that right there has a huge amount of value. Now, it's not a huge number of jobs, but the value has a direct effect on our property tax.
It won't be in town, though.
Well, no, but still, it's the county.
It's county, right.
So
we're working on various projects. They're very interesting as far as and you see data centers all over. But one example, we were talking the other day. Someone was like, "Well, Tyler, their tax rate is so much lower. Why is that?" Well, they have so much more value than we do. They have like $6-7 billion more than our community. And then they have a little bit more sales tax. And if you're able to do those things, it helps with the affordability, kind of keep the rates down. But there's some other factors, but those are two of the key ones. But it is a really exciting time to be here. I'm one of those positive guys that and another big focus for me has been organizational culture.
Right. I was going to ask you, switching gears here, because when you have a job like yours, okay, you didn't come in and see the ad in the newspaper and go sit down with somebody in an office and go, do an interview, and they go, we're going to hire you. This is a long process.
Oh, yeah.
And there were search firms involved and a lot of vetting, but it's also, when you're coming to a situation like this, you're vetting where you're going as well. This is a partnership.
That's
this
right.
isn't like Jeff is just going to be our new employee and you go over there and work the grill. No, you're coming in to run the place. You're the CEO. You're the boss, and so you want to make sure that it's a situation that you want to step into. So tell us a little bit. Just want to set that background there. A little bit about what your top 3 things that you notice that I want to go in there and kind of tackle these things.
Oh, that's a great question. Yeah, I mean, you're very correct, Trey. Those processes normally they take 30 to 60 days. They're very involved, and it's almost like there's the interview process, but the community also has to sell themselves to you as well.
Right, absolutely.
And so, it was just the right fit, the right time, and very humbling, I will say, for myself, because when you're an MSU student, you just never think, I'll be the city manager of Wichita Falls one of the days. So it's very coming back has been very humbling on that end of it. And then sometimes when I'm in a car, I'm like, I still don't believe it a little bit, but but it actually happened. But one of my big goals is organizational culture. We've got to sometimes things can get just the way they are, And
So
we've talked about this a bunch.
But go ahead.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, I've got questions.
So you're on the right track.
Okay.
Yeah.
And one thing with staff, they do a great job. You just may learn some things a certain way, and then you need to have those organizational culture building opportunities. So one thing I'm really big on is healthy living. So that's one thing with leadership we're going to be focusing on is, how you can do these personality tests, and you can find out what are your great attributes that come out in your personality and what are not so great. And how can we get more of the days that the really good, excellent employee is coming out? And then if you're not doing well, mental health, spiritually, physically, maybe you need to take a day off. Maybe you might need to go fishing or something, just understanding those signs and getting the best out of the employee. Customer service is another big, along with that culture. Don't just, hey, we've always done it this way. Is Abilene or somebody in the Metroplex doing it a little bit differently? And then is there a way to work smarter and not harder? There's all kind of new technology and things coming out. Is there a way to, put those in our systems to where we don't have to have so many touch points for whatever we're trying to do? And another big one for me is, and that this is all kind of in the same umbrella, but is can we, the answer is not always no. We're all busy, sometimes it might feel like, that's an inconvenience, I just tell them no, and maybe 75% of the chance it's probably no. Well, just take a step back. That's what I've tried to tell our directors. Take a step back. If it's not, not illegal, not going to kill somebody, and you're not 100% sure, what's the way we can try to work with folks and provide a little bit? The answer still may be no, but you at least explored whatever those opportunities are.
And you've given them. I've done all the work. And the answer is no, but here's all the reasons behind it. It's not no because I said so.
Right.
Yeah. Well, so on that, on the customer service side, that right there, it was one thing that I ran into when I did a build out. Not so much here, a little bit here, but when I did a build out in Parker Square, in 2012.
Okay.
When I moved in there, I moved out of there. I'm sorry, I moved in there in 2008. I don't know. It's too long ago. But anyway, my point is, one of the things I ran into was about the code, whatever the code means, that then needs to be a little education there, public side of it, because there's a lot of complexities. But when I asked if I could read the code, see what was there, well, they told me no.
Oh.
I said, well, don't you have a copy? Yes, we do. Well, well, you can go online. Well, when I go online, they want $500 for it. And I'm like, well, I think my tax money paid for the one that surely I have a way to get to it. And I just didn't understand why.
The problem is, Terry, they knew you were going to rip the pages out and take them with you.
But anyway, so whatever that is, how it was adopted and understanding that so that I could understand what was going on. And I wanted to read it. And, not all of us, all the businesses can always afford to have you ask your contractors to do certain things, but they're often blindsided at times. But anyway, just that one thing, and I thought, well, why can't they just put a copy in the library? The city owns the library, right?
Or
if that's
on the website.
Or, well, there's some copyright issues. I do know that, so I get that. But if you have a copy, should I not have access to it, even if just somehow you'd think that'd be a way to get a copy.
That's
just a
that's
simple
a good point.
thing.
Or somebody, hey, can I make a copy of that little section that you're talking about, or you want to know? No,
but
that's
I was told
a great
no.
example.
Well, what happens, and we've said this a bunch of times, and we've, of course, had Tim Short on. He's been probably our most frequent guest.
Yeah.
Tim has been on 3 or 4 times with us. Is that most of the people that work for the city are good people.
Oh, yeah.
And they're your neighbors, and they're your friends, and they're the people you go to church with or see at the ball game or go to the grocery store or see at the restaurant. So these are good people, and they're not trying to do things improperly or make your life hard. Mm-hmm. But, and this, I experienced this with my time with the school district, okay? What happens sometimes in people in government roles, in the private sector, you don't perform customer service very long, you're probably going to be gone.
Yep.
Because there's somebody else that's going to do it better. The problem is with a government role is you can't go somewhere else to get your driver's license. You can't go somewhere else to get your
permits.
Your permits. You can't go. So there is not that other sense of competition, and I don't think it doesn't make bad people, and it doesn't mean people are bad, but it does breed some complacency sometimes, because in a way you almost, as human beings, when you have a little bit of authority or power, it's human nature. You have to overcome it. We have to overcome it. It's human nature to kind of flex that a little bit. Mm-hmm. And that happens a lot. And it's, once again, not somebody being bad or anything like that. It's just human nature, and they're complacent. Does that sound fair?
I mean, you got to have that organizational culture where you take a step back and you go, is there another way we can do this?
Or what if that was me?
What if that was me?
That's the way I always try to look at it. What if that was me?
And I totally agree with that.
And I do that with my customers. When I have a customer, because we're 100% perfect, we never have complaints. But no, but when I have a customer and we have a customer that has a complaint or we have an issue with a customer, I always try to look back and go, hang on, let me put myself take myself out of Eddie Hill's Fun Cycles role. Let me put myself in that customer's role. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And what is their complaint, and is it a legitimate complaint? And if it is, then it's like, well, wait a minute, I can see where they're coming from.
Yep. No, I totally agree. I mean, that's part of that culture building, and then I'm a believer in accountability as well. Right. So if someone gets that raise, well, they should deserve it. They should deserve it. If they're having performance issues, then we need to document that as well. So
will this be will customer service, or is customer service I hate to say condition of employment, but is it in the evaluation, especially and I would think in the customer facing roles for sure,
yes,
but even in the non-customer facing, and I say end customer, the taxpayer, but internally you're customers of each other. You service, you're the payroll. It's not my payroll as a taxpayer, it's the payroll of the employees. And so if payroll within the city they need to realize that the employees are their customer, and they need to have a customer service attitude.
HR is a perfect
HR
example
as well. And so has there been, and is there going to be, or what kind of changes, or refocus, whatever you want to call it, on the customer service all the way through? How is that going to be measured within the city government and the employees and all that?
That's a great question. No, evaluations, that's one way.
Right.
And emphasizing that, not just.
But how you measuring it?
How you measure it? Oh, yes. That's a good point. We do have we do have a survey that we do on our email, but one of my things I'm going to do is there's this I'm trying to remember the name of it. I'll think of it in a minute, but there's a survey system that you can implement, and we have that in our budget to implement. And basically, you can do a survey on whatever it is, and you get, and it's a scientific survey. You get a number of, I think, 300 is the minimum, 300 to 500 people to sign up, and you regularly ask those questions. Hey, how are we doing on customer service? Right. How are we doing? What would you like to see in your city a little bit more? But we're going to do those on a regular basis as a measurement tool, because we need to have those opinions and what's going on and what the focus is. And then I'm thinking another big thing you mentioned is the silos. That we've got to work on that. So that's where I don't know if y'all went to Leader Fest a couple
I
of days.
didn't get to make it.
No, but they, it was a great example. They talked a lot about it. One of the speakers not having those silos and having those culture building opportunities. So we're going to do that as well. So I think our first one, we have one coming up this next week where you'll have a snow cone stand go by, and everybody joins up and get a snow cone. But it creates these conversations. You go, I don't know that person over there. Let me get to meet them and know them. So instead of being in separate buildings, going, I don't know, where you feel uncomfortable. So and then in October we have another health fair event that we're going to be putting on, and we'll have a dunking booth. I've been told one of our staff members said he would dress up as Macho Man Randy Savage when he gets in the booth, but I don't know if that'll happen. But those kind of events, and I don't know, walking the walk, talking the talk.
Right.
Another good example is community cleanups. There's been the Colbert Project's been doing a lot of those, and they've been excellent. If you ever get a chance to come out, and it feels great helping residents on East Side. But when you go out there, is the city manager out there? Is the mayor out there? And but that can breathe throughout the organization that, hey, they're out there on a Saturday morning and getting a good workout in, doing some work. So it's part of that walking the walk, showing employees this is the expectations and the what you should be doing, thinking outside the box.
Right. Well, good. Well, I think there's a lot of opportunity, but I mean, as he pointed out that vast majority of the people absolutely are great people, and just like any other organization, there's a few that potentially make everybody look bad. But I'm glad that there's at least a focus on that, and I think there's already been, just with Tim Short, he has done some things.
And the city council. There's
the
been
city
a lot
council.
of change in the city council.
I totally agree.
So I think because it takes both, because they can't. I guess technically they can't dictate too many things as to how you operate the city.
They dictate. They come up with the overall policy,
and then
but you got to carry it out.
In other words, Tim can't go to Chief Borrego, and say, "Hey, you need to do this." That's not how it works.
Right.
It's a chain of command.
They have one
chain of command.
The city council and the mayor has one employee, which is you.
Me, yeah.
And it's their job to create policy, procedure, or overall arching procedures, and your job to implement that stuff and have your own sub-procedures under there.
And by the way, you have no say with what the county does. The county has no say, or the school district.
State legislature.
The city does not run the schools.
You can't pick up the phone and call Donald Trump, tell him straighten something out, get that off Twitter. I know.
But I like to point that out because a lot of people don't really understand that all the interactions and all the individual, and this is siloed in a way specifically for a reason.
And it's siloed by law.
Right, by law, right,
exactly. In other words, the city of Wichita Falls cannot do anything monetarily with the school district.
They
you
can
can have
cooperate.
partnerships and encouragement and all that, and vice versa.
Right.
The school board cannot vote for something, a city ordinance. It just doesn't happen. So. Well, we need to kind of get closer to wrapping up here.
Yeah. Is
there one more thing outside the culture thing that you kind of identified and said, I kind of want to go tackle that?
Well, I think Ron mentioned it yesterday. It's that quality of life and economic development. So we just completed our Parks Master Plan. So how do we implement that plan, starting implementation? You need to give residents more opportunities to have great experiences with their family and friends. And so we need to have the most up-to-date equipment and things moving on quality of life. I'm a quality of life person, and I want to be able to enjoy the amenities as well. And but that's a big focus for me. Is one thing I'm really big on. It's kind of a new concept for some, but corporate citizenry. So if you are in economic development, if you're wanting to come here, you need to also invest in our community as well. So I look to try to get internships from them. I look to try to get donations for the city and nonprofit for that quality of life, or one-time payments. So that's did that in Taylor, and it really helps supplement our quality of life budget and got it moving a little bit more.
Well, I think Ron had mentioned that sometimes, when you're negotiating tax abatements and things like that, that's where you can, and I guess I don't know what role specifically you as the city manager play in that, but I know we learned that there's an approval process. You have to go to the county and to the state and to all these, different organizations, but that's cool.
And then economic development, we've got to have those more primary job employers in all sectors, but especially in our ones we're focusing on, and get our downtown. That's another big focus for me. I mean, he mentioned yesterday, Ron did. That was our first conversation. It was like, yes, I mean, we got to get that downtown. It's doing better than it has at times in the past. But what can we do even more in the future?
There was a little bit of a focus, and it seems like ever since COVID, it really was kind of roaring a little bit, and then COVID hit, and it just seems like it's kind of leveled off since then.
So we need to get our master plan updated for that, and then what else can we do to spark the interest? For me, I'd like to almost see districts. That's one thing that I'd like to see. I've worked in Broken Arrow, Oklahoma, and they have a district there I worked on. It's called the Rose District, and it's just rose planters out front, a special logo. They don't call it downtown anymore. They call it the Rose District. And then that marketing and combined with real public works action out there has really caused that area to blossom because, marketing is part of it. If you say, well, I'm going downtown, it's like, okay, but you say, hey, I'm taking my date to the Rose District,
I've got an idea. I ought to call it the Eddie Hills Fun Cycles Adjacent District. I'm good for $50 kicking in on that marketing plan. There you go.
So.
But that's a great one. The last thing is, how can we, future generations, if they want to be here 360 their entire livelihood, that they want to be here, and it's an enjoyable time, and they have all those opportunities. I know in my time, if you wanted to move up or do certain things, you had to move away. Unfortunately, is there ways we can lessen that and even get people to come back too? Right. The ones that because I've heard that one too. Oh, if you leave, you'll if you don't leave, you'll never, you don't want to go back. Well, let's change those, and I think we're doing that.
Well, Austin Cobb, sorry, real quick. Austin Cobb came back.
Yeah,
and he's on the city council. Perfect example. He's from Wichita Falls, grew up.
We need more of those stories.
Left, and he came back.
And we're gonna hit on this as often as I can. So if we can just there's a certain amount of growth that is healthy.
I would agree.
And even we've talked about this. We have 100 and some thousand. I don't know what the latest number is, but
somewhere between 102 and 105.
Yeah, there we go. Like so let's call it 100. If we're able to increase 1% a year, just 1%, that's 1,000 people. And over 5 years, that's 5,000 more people. And at 105, that's 110,000. And then we have seen zero growth. We're doing this
very little,
and it's just it's because the base moved in a bunch of people in 95. There was a jump there.
From Illinois, I remember that.
Right, from Illinois and Lowry Air Force Base in Denver. I didn't come from those two places, but I was still part of the buildup, and so I think it's just if we can, but we're poised. We are literally, and with the mall, that's just another feather in our cap. And we just need to, and I'm 60, almost 60 years old, and I'm still got a lot of time to be here, but I really think that it's going to be good. As I'm happy with the way it is in a way, but I would rather see more stuff come. And I would benefit as a business owner, right?
Absolutely.
So, restaurants and retail, that's another big one, along with that quality of life. Can you not have to get in your car and go to Oklahoma City or Dallas because you want to see or go to that specific place? Can we have it here locally? And that's another thing I'd love to see.
All right.
Yeah.
Well,
absolutely.
Then, all right.
Jeff, thanks so much.
Yes.
For coming
I enjoyed it very much.
Yep.
And thank you very much. And once again, thank you for joining in to another Get It Right Texoma. We're here live every Saturday or Friday.
Every Friday morning, 7:30. Yep.
And you could also go and check out our archives, and we have
YouTube.
I don't know how many 100
and something episodes.
Yeah. And, we did like the first 101 or so with Mike.
Right. Yep.
So we have a lot of episodes with Mike and his wisdom on there as well. So please check out our archives.
Yeah.
And so anyhow.
Yeah, so I guess we'll just wrap it up, though. Great to see you. And of course, as Mike would always say as we wrap up, is see you down the road.
You'll make this rather snappy, won't you? I have some very heavy thinking to do before 10 o'clock.